Listen, we gotta stop this. Stop going after high value men. Like, everyone has a different definition of what a high value man is. But socially speaking, superficially speaking, because this is part of the superficial social standard, a good looking guy or a man who has a lot of options with women, a lot of money, and a lot of status. They're overrated in terms of developing a good relationship with them. Because eventually you're gonna end up calling me. You're gonna tell me how Lil Jake, the rapper, is not texting you back. He's at a concert that he's doing and he doesn't want to return your call, or Bob the businessman who always travels, and you feel insecure because of that. You're just gonna end up calling me a lie, and I'm gonna end up saying, look, my love, you can't control him. You have to leave. And what happens is that if you stay in that situation where you're consistently trying to control a man who's exploring his options, it's gonna create a pattern in your mind, because you're reinforcing it, because when he comes back, you're gonna release dopamine, and all of the things you went through is gonna be reinforced with positive emotions. And that becomes you're gonna develop a taste for only going out with guys who have high status, and you're gonna develop a dislike, or even you're gonna find normal guys who are healthy for you boring. If Beyonce got cheated on, and that's Beyonce, an ultra talented, beautiful woman, what do you think it's gonna happen to everyone? High status guys are overrated simply because they eventually cheat, and that's a fact. Chris Rock said a man is as faithful as his options. And this is the thing, you might say, but I want those type of guys, that it comes from me. No, it doesn't. Desire is a social thing. Desire is both an imitative thing where we want what other people want, and desire is also competitive. You could accept the fact that some people are more talented than you. You could accept the fact that somebody could do a backflip and a spin-a-rooney better than you. But a lot of the times we cannot accept the fact that somebody's more desirable than us. Why? Because it hits at the core of human weakness. It hits at our vanity and at our self-esteem. And what happens is that when you get in the rat race of trying to get and settle with a high value man, you're setting yourself up for failure. I'm telling you that. It's like these women who only date NBA guys or who only date rappers. How do you think that happened? They felt the high of being with a high status guy, a high value man. And just like a drug, like a junkie, they get addicted to it, and that's all they want. Addiction is not just to drugs. People could also be addicted to a certain social status. And the reason why is because those men have too many options. When you have a lot of options, each option gets lower in value. When you have fewer options, each option increases its value. And that projection of how I see you, because I have a lot of options, will naturally be projected onto you, and you're gonna view yourself with the value that I see you. And if you secretly believe you have low value, secretly, unconsciously, it's gonna destroy you from within. Unfortunately, a lot of ladies, a lot of my clients, a lot of people who watch my channel are after the top 1%. It is not realistic. Ladies and gentlemen, look, man, I am a loving person. I may sound sometimes like I'm mean. I may sound a little harsh sometimes, but it's because I give tough love. It's because I care. You have a lot of people out there trying to sell you a dream, trying to tell you that you could get any guy that you want. That's not realistic. I cannot get Beyonce, people. Trust me, I cannot get Beyonce. And I'm okay with that. You have to understand, it's like people who eat for the sake of eating and eating good versus people who eat because it's healthy for them. You see, a lot of the times we date for status. We don't date for love. We date to show off to our families. We date to show people what we have, because we're social animals. We want to raise our status in our circle. It's a natural human tendency. But what tends to happen is that when we start doing things for other people, we stop looking at ourselves. We stop asking, what do I really want? and you stop taking care of yourself in the process. And by you not being aware of what you want, you lose a certain level of self-awareness. And usually you have this desire for high status, high value men because there's a hole inside of you. There's a certain level of unhappiness that maybe you weren't appreciated when you grew up by your parents, or maybe they bullied you. And so you learn to feel good by getting validation from men. And that becomes your coping mechanism. That becomes your drug. Everyone has a drug of choice, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, it's not just drug itself. A drug is anything that elevates our levels of dopamine and reduces or suppresses the thoughts that are hurting us. You become a zombie for the masses, where you start following and chasing after what everyone wants, and you stop looking inside of you and asking yourself, what do you really need? Because when you want something, a lot of the times it doesn't come from you. You ever wonder why you like certain types of guys? Why you like this type and not that type? A lot of the times it came from society. Studies show that if you are raised, for example, if you're a white woman and you're raised in a black neighborhood, you're gonna be attractive to mostly black guys. If you're an Asian girl and you're raised in a white neighborhood, you're gonna be attracted to white guys. That's just how it works. Your desires usually come from what the society values. But the problem is that what society values is usually not good for you. And as a result, you end up having a life, and once the social validation wears off, you end up noticing you're not happy with this person. You end up now finally seeing the negatives of being with them. High value guys a lot of the times will cheat on you. But he says he's different. He'll never cheat on me. He told me that I will never do that. What the heck? Do you think this guy is really gonna tell you the truth? Do you think the devil is ever gonna tell you he's the devil? Of course not. They're gonna tell you exactly what you want to hear to get the poom poom. And when we want something, we become more susceptible to be deceived. The people who get scammed are people who are in desperate need. Jesus, ladies and gentlemen, that's why learning to be happy on your own is so important, because it insulates you from becoming gullible. When you believe the lies, it's because you want to believe it, because deep down, if you don't believe it, you don't know where else to go. What do you think a man with a high sex drive, because studies show that men have a higher sex drive than women, what the heck do you think he's gonna do with that power? Do you really think that a man who has who's desired by other women, do you really think he's not gonna take advantage of that? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a mean person. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a very loving guy, but I'm very realistic. My love is expressed through realism. And a lot of people think I'm being mean when I say this type of stuff, but I am not. Look at Beyonce. All the single ladies Beyonce. Curvy Beyonce, Queen Beyonce. She got cheated on, and that's Beyonce, ladies and gentlemen. That's Beyonce. Chris Rock said this himself. A man is as faithful as his options. This is why I say this. I always said this. Kind of don't agree with it anymore, but I always said when I was younger, if I had a daughter and I had the option of having an average looking daughter versus a really good looking daughter, a hot looking daughter, give me the average looking daughter, because I want my daughter to be dating the plumber. I want my daughter to be dating Tyrone the plumber. I want my daughter to be dating Jake the programmer. I don't want her to be dating Jake the quarterback. I don't want her to be dating Tyrone the personal trainer. I want her to be dating an average guy, because yes, even those guys will cheat, but I can promise you the ego in those guys is not going to be as high as the ego in a very famous person. Power does corrupt, but also powerlessness corrupts. So there is a limit. Dating somebody who still lives with their parents, who has no power in life, those guys will also try to overpower you because they're overcompensating. It's better off to go after normal guys. You're gonna be happier in the long run. But a lot of us just date for status. We don't date for love. You have people who date for status, who date for money, and who date for love. And so all of these girls on Instagram who keep trying to get the high value guy. And there is a recipe, ladies and gentlemen. There seems to be a type for these high value guys. They seem to like the women with the lip fillers, with the big butt, with the BBLs, which, Lord have mercy, that's horrible for your health. And these women end up destroying their bodies all to attract a superficial man who's not even gonna value you for you. Ladies, I was dating this girl in Mexico, and honestly, like, this girl was so beautiful. When I saw her talk, it was almost like a hypnotism. It was hypnotic looking at her talk. But she didn't recognize how beautiful she was, because she wanted to date a high stat. She wanted to date a rapper, people, okay? Like, she just wanted to date a rapper. I'm not a rapper, but she wanted to date a rapper, right? And she's dating a rapper now. But she told me how she wanted to get a butt lift. And I was like, my love, Jesus Christ, have mercy. I started praying over her. I was like, did you know what happens when you get plastic surgery? You increase your likelihood of cancer. What are you doing? Are you thinking straight? No matter, and the truth is that this woman was drop dead gorgeous. But the thing is that there is an archetype. These rappers, for some reason, like the women who have and look, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have that, that's totally fine. I'm not here to judge you. But the point is, if your eyes are set to date a guy who's famous, who's rich, who's high value, you're in for a run. You're in for a rat race. Get in line, boo-boo, because there's a lot of women looking for that. And the process of trying to impress a type of guy like that will only hurt your self-esteem, will only teach you how to supplicate, teach you how to chase, will only, in your mind, subconsciously, you're gonna stop seeing the value within you. Why? Because you're not even looking inside of yourself. You're only looking and say, hey, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Hey, am I good enough? Am I good enough? By you looking at other people, which is a normal human thing, it is a human thing, and that's a fact. Humans are social animals. We're always looking at what other people are doing to see whether or not we should be doing it. Why? Because that's how we learned. That's how we learn to socialize. That's how we learn languages. That's how we learn social custom. And if you don't have that ability, it means you might have a little bit of autism. I'm not even gonna lie to you people. I may have a little bit of autism. That's why I tend to have controversial beliefs, because I tend to just look inside of myself sometimes, which could be a flaw. But if you keep following the same path that every woman follows, you're gonna end up desiring the same type of guy. And those same types of guys have so many options that they don't see the value within you. And as a result, you're gonna start believing that man's projection of you. And naturally, you're gonna start feeling that low self-esteem. You're gonna start feeling that reality of feeling like you're not good enough for that person. A lot of ladies who are really beautiful, who are really good looking, think that they're not attractive, think that they have no value, because they're dating somebody who doesn't value them. There is a big cost for trying to chase the big prize. And that causes your self-esteem, people. If I had a daughter and I told her who to date, and I advised her who to date, I would tell her, do not go after the famous guys. They're a waste of time. Yes, you get the validation. Yes, you get the self-esteem boost, temporary. But at the end of the day, those guys cheat. And a lot of times, these women that you see dating these famous guys, you think they're happy. You think they're so cool. But deep down, these women are dealing with other women trying to get their man. These women, in order to feel secure, develop habits where they have to control their man, or where they want full control, just to make sure they're not cheating. They want to get access to their phone. They want to make sure that they know exactly where they are. They got to be with them because they know there could be a woman trying to get their number. They start seeing things that are not even there because they're consistently in an insecure state. Can you see how that could ruin a potentially good relationship? Dating someone who you're always feeling like you're about to lose. That cannot be a happy existence. And it breaks my heart because that's how some women live their lives. Yeah, you got the right guy, but now you got to fight to keep that motherfucker. And sometimes the lemon is not worth the squeeze. These women a lot of times are paranoid, consistently insecure because they don't know when that day is coming. It's like dating Leonardo DiCaprio and you're 23 years old. You have only a few months left. Can you imagine that? Jesus Christ. Can you imagine every single day you don't know when is that day coming? You live in dread. You live in a state of suspense. The pendulum of time stops at every second, asking yourself, when is that day coming? When they go on tour, when they go on a business meeting, you don't know whether or not he's cheating. Date a normal guy. And if you can't do that, it just means you're dating for status. It just means you're not really dating for the sake of dating. And look, there's nothing wrong with gold diggers. I'm not here to judge you. But if you're gonna date a guy who every woman wants, which is a guy who has a lot of money, a lot of social status, you're gonna end up paying the price. It's not free. Now, what do I consider high value, in my opinion? True high value, true self-esteem is not something that you see from the outside in. It's something you experience. When I went to a meditation retreat, I was talking to one of the teachers. We had a silent retreat, and when we stopped talking, we had a conversation. And I told him, how do you know if someone is enlightened? How do you know that? And he said, you can't know. You can never know if a teacher is really enlightened or not. And I was like, so how do you know who to follow? And he just said, follow the one that teaches the best and has the best example from the outside in. But at the end of the day, you have to accept the fact that you will never know who's really enlightened. You could be sitting in front of the Buddha himself. There are a lot of people who talk to the Buddha who thought he was a regular guy, because you can never see it. And if you're looking for a sign of enlightenment, the person who shows you that they're enlightened is not enlightened. That's just how that works. It is something that you cannot see. And it is something that no one will really know other than that person themselves. Dating regular guys in the long run will give you a higher likelihood of being happy. Now, what is a regular guy? I'm not saying to date a guy who is broke and who hates his life and as a result abuses you, that you're still in the same boat. Look for emotional qualities. That's a high status person. That's a high value person to you. It's like vegetables and non-processed foods. The high status guys are processed food. The guys with emotional stability, the guys with a secure attachment style are the guys who are the vegetable, who are the healthy for you. It may look boring, but it's only boring because you're chasing after status. Once you learn to become more secure in yourself. Now, how do you do that? The reason why you're chasing status is because you're not happy with yourself. You don't feel like you're enough. You don't feel like you're someone you don't feel like you love yourself, pretty much. So you want somebody else to love you by them validating you. You don't know how to really validate yourself from within. You develop that through developing a meditation practice, because at the end of the day, you are enough. At the end of the day, you have an ecosystem of positive emotion that is waiting to burst, but you're clogging it up because you're continually looking on the outside, and when you don't even know that you have a treasure within you, which is your presence, pure consciousness, self-awareness. By beginning to observe the desire for validation, the desire for a high status, you begin to notice that these things don't really come from you. These are voices that emanated from other people not accepting themselves. And because we're social animals, and because we're creatures that we learn from other people, and we sort of are ingrained to imitate the emotions because we have mirror neurons, we develop the same mindset. So learn to breathe. If I were to give you a recipe to bring happiness and high self-esteem in your life, it would be this: breathe, feel, and be still. Anytime you feel that low self-esteem arising within you, don't try to think your way out of it. Don't try to act your way out of it. Sit, breathe, and feel. Sit, be still, breathe, and feel. Just Do that. High self-esteem, it's not about adding things to yourself to feel good. Because the only reason why you're adding things to yourself so that other people can see what you added on, so that they can feel bad because they don't have what you have, and because of their misery, you feel good. A lot of the times, all these people are posting stuff on the internet to make you feel jealous, so that you could feel bad, and they, as a result of your unhappiness, so that they can feel good themselves. That's what they're trying to do. That's the real purpose of all of these social media, to create superficial self-esteem, a superficial artifice that's built of sand, that when the wave of ocean flies by, which is time itself, it's going to disintegrate like it never happened before. Look within yourself. Once you find that peace within you, stay there. Feel that peace. Observe whatever you feel. Just feel it. Don't react to it. Don't try to fix it by adding this or that or dating this person. Don't fall for the illusion of the masses. And just feel what's inside of you and breathe. Just know that you're breathing. Just know that you're feeling. Just know that you're sitting. And just know that you're still. And you'll notice peace will rise from it. And you'll be able to have a larger picture of the panorama, and be able to see that all of this is an illusion. The self-esteem that you feel from dating that high status guy really is not self-esteem. It's low self-esteem masquerading as high self-esteem, because that will end eventually. Deep down at the bottom of your being, you know this will not last forever. And the impermanence of nature creates dread inside of us. Accept the impermanence by not holding on to it and observing your inner emotional state. Bring self-awareness to yourself, and you'll notice you are enough. Ladies and gentlemen, there are times when I'm just sitting at home and I just feel happy for no reason. When I was younger, I needed women to make me feel good. When I was younger, I remember I would need to have 3 or 4 girls in my life to feel better. If I had 2 girls, it wasn't enough. Motherfucker, if 2 girls is not enough, when the hell is it gonna be enough? Like, think about that. When is it gonna be enough? It's never gonna be enough. What's really going on is that it's an illusion that keeps unhappiness present in your life. This phantom is your ego. Your ego can never make you feel at peace, because it'll stop being the ego. The ego consistently needs problems in order to stay alive. You can have the perfect man and you'll say, but. You could be in the most beautiful place and you'll say, but. As soon as you're at peace with the situation, the ego slowly starts dying. Ask yourself right now, wherever you are right now, what's lacking in this moment? Just ask yourself that question, and just observe, and look around and ask yourself, what's lacking in this moment? Try right now. What's lacking? There's nothing lacking. Everything is as it should be. But you gotta understand, the brain is a problem-solving machine. We are the preeminent social animal, and we learned our most powerful quality is that we can adapt better than any animal in history. It doesn't matter the terrain, it doesn't matter the situation. We are the most adaptable animal that has ever graced the earth. We can adapt to anything. And one of the qualities of the adaptation is that our brains are problem-solving machines. And over the eons, we've been rewarded with solving problems that this solving problem machine is pretty much automatic. And so it's a good thing if you're encountering an actual problem. But it's a bad thing, because then when there are no problems, the brain continuously looks for problems, and because it's so smart, creates problems for you to solve. So everything in your life could be going perfect. But because we have such an amazing machine, which is our brain, it creates unnecessary problems. And so there is the core of our delusion, the core of our unhappiness, that we continually create problems for no reason. Be present in the moment. Breathe and learn to find happiness from within you. You have an ecosystem of positive emotions. Tap into that. And naturally, your vanity, your desire to date those high status guys for the sake of it, it's gonna go away. And it's gonna be replaced by wanting to find somebody who appreciates you for who you are. That's just a fact. I'm not telling you guys to date ugly guys. If you want to date that, that's totally fine. But stop dating for the sake of status, people. That's what I'm trying to say, all right? Anyways, if you guys want to work with me one-on-one, go to mindforattraction.org and click on the description down below. And we're having a seminar in London, so you guys can purchase the tickets on the description down below as well. I'll see you later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't purchased any of my courses, we have a special bundle deal for everyone. So that you could purchase all of my courses, meaning you could purchase the Psychological Game of Attraction, Natural Chemistry, and Nice Girl, along with all of the bonuses. Originally, if you purchase everything without the bundle, it'll be around $500, to be honest with you. But right now, if you guys purchase it with the bundle, you guys will be able to get all of these courses: Psychological Game of Attraction, which is for women who are single; Natural Chemistry, which is for women who are in a relationship; Nice Girl, which is a course on assertiveness, along with all of the bonuses: Social Mastery, Practical Mastery in terms of how to master anything; Social Mastery in terms of how to master your social skills; and The Laws of Human Nature, wherein it's part of the Robert Greene book club I used to have. All of these, naturally, like I said, it's $500. Now you get it at $394, which is essentially 20% off everything. But if you guys want to purchase a more affordable bundle, you guys can purchase the bundle without the bonuses, and that will be at $224 rather than the $300. Well, rather than the $293 that you guys would naturally purchase it. So you could purchase it with the bundle or without the bundle. You could purchase it with the bonuses or without the bonuses. It's all of the work that I put in the last 4 years, in the last 5 years actually, all of the research that I've done. And this course, rather than watching all of my videos, and because they could be random and you could sort of like lose the big picture because there's just so many videos, you guys get all of the content condensed in a course. Trust me, people, if you guys purchase this, you won't regret it. If you haven't purchased it, hopefully this will push you towards it, because it's something that I believe in, and everyone who's purchased my course have been satisfied with it. And if they didn't like it, I always give their money back. I have never rejected a refund. All right. So purchase it right now. Click on the description down below where it says purchase the bundle, and I'll see you guys inside.